I want you to imagine, just for a second, the most earth-shattering event possible.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Just really picture it in your mind. An alien spacecraft crashes directly into your local park.
Right.
It's this colossal smoking cylinder from another world, and it's half buried in a crater of shattered Earth.
Literally ground zero for first contact.
Exactly. It is quite literally ground zero. Now, how do people react? I mean, do they run for the hills?
You'd think so, yeah.
Do they fall to their knees in existential terror?
Well, we always assume the response to the incomprehensible is, absolute panic. But the reality that H.G. Wells presents is just, it's far stranger.
It really is.
A lot of people just look at this smoldering interstellar vehicle, shrug, and basically go home to eat breakfast.
And the local kids.
Oh, the kids are the best part. They literally sit on the edge of the crater and start throwing rocks at it.
It's just wild. And that bizarre, deeply uncomfortable reality is exactly what we are unpacking in today's deep dive.
It's such a fascinating text.
It is.
Yeah.
We are stepping into Chapter 3 of H.G. Wells's masterpiece, The War of the Worlds, specifically a chapter titled On Horsell Common.
Right.
And our mission today isn't just to recap a classic sci-fi story. We are really diving into the fascinating, frustrating, and honestly incredibly realistic psychology of how human beings process the impossible.
It truly is a masterclass in psychological realism. I mean, the brilliance of this opening isn't found in lasers or mass destruction.
Yeah, there's none of that yet.
Right. It's found in this profound, unsettling, completely mundane behavior. It's a slow burn that really exposes the absolute limits of human cognition.
The scene itself is just painted so vividly. It's early morning. The ground on Horsell Common is charred as if by a sudden violent explosion.
Huh?
And the impact of this massive cylinder has literally blasted a pit into the earth. But the two guys who originally found it, Henderson and Ogilvy, they aren't standing guard.
No, not at all.
They aren't frantically trying to establish a perimeter or anything. They literally looked at it, decided there was, quote, nothing to be done for the present, and just went off to Henderson's house for breakfast.
Which is just so perfectly British, but also that decision sets the tone for the entire morning.
Yeah.
Because when our narrator finally arrives at the pit, he doesn't find a military blockade.
Right.
He doesn't find widespread panic either. He finds a small, quiet crowd of about 20 people.
20 people for an alien spacecraft.
Yeah.
And it's the most ordinary cross-section of suburban life you can possibly imagine.
It really is.
You've got a couple of cyclists, a jobbing gardener, there's a girl carrying a baby. Greg the butcher is there with his son.
Oh, and the golf caddies?
Yeah, there are a few golf caddies who usually just hang around the railway station.
Wells deliberately emphasizes the atmosphere here, too. He points out that there was actually very little talking. Most of these bystanders are just staring quietly at the big table-like end of the cylinder.
The detail that really caught me off guard, though, is what the kids are doing.
The rock throwing.
Yes. There are 4 or 5 boys sitting right on the edge of the pit. They're dangling their feet over the edge, kicking their legs, and just amusing themselves by throwing stones at this giant metallic mass.
Just treating it like a rusted-out car or something.
Exactly. And when the narrator finally tells them to stop, they just start playing a game of tag, or touch, as they call it, just weaving in and out of the bystanders.
Yeah.
But I have to ask, I mean, even if they don't grasp the cosmic significance of this thing, shouldn't a massive explosion trigger, I don't know, basic survival instincts?
Yeah.
Why default to throwing stones and playing tag?
Well, to understand that, we really need to look at a psychological concept called schema theory.
Schema theory, okay.
Right. So our brains organize knowledge into frameworks or schemas, which act kind of like mental file folders.
Okay, I follow.
When you encounter something new, your brain frantically searches for a matching folder to help you understand how to react. So if you see a bear, your brain accesses the dangerous predator folder, and you feel fear.
So what happens when there is no folder? Because Wells explicitly notes that in those days, the word extraterrestrial had absolutely no meaning to the common people of England.
Not at all.
They only had the vaguest astronomical ideas.
Exactly. And when there is no folder, the brain simply cannot process the threat. It experiences cognitive dissonance.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and to resolve that discomfort, the brain forces the unexplainable event into a familiar, safe category. These bystanders completely lack the schema for alien invasion.
Right, because why would they have it?
Exactly. So they map it onto something familiar, maybe a localized industrial accident or perhaps just a fallen piece of machinery.
Like a broken down bus on the side of the highway.
That's a perfect analogy. And once the brain categorizes it as an inanimate object, the fear response just shuts off entirely. The narrator actually notes that the crowd was likely disappointed.
Disappointed.
Yeah. They expected a dramatic spectacle, perhaps a heap of charred corpses from an explosion. Instead, they just get this quiet, rusty-looking bulk.
So it doesn't fit their criteria for a tragedy, and it doesn't fit their criteria for entertainment.
Right.
So they literally just walk away. It's like nobody died in a fire, and this metal tube isn't doing anything fun, so I'm going to go run my errands.
Precisely. I mean, if we cannot categorize something, we very often just default to boredom.
Yeah.
But this banality directly sets up a really stark contrast with our narrator.
Because he's different from the crowd.
Very different, because unlike the butcher and the golf caddies, the narrator actually has a solid scientific education. He does have a slightly larger mental filing cabinet.
He does, yeah. And the way he perceives the object is entirely different. He actually climbs down into the pit to get a closer look.
Right.
To the layman, this thing just looks like a rusty gas float. But the narrator notices the anomalies.
The details that don't fit.
Yeah, he sees the grayscale covering the thing and realizes it is absolutely no common oxide. It's alien. And he sees the yellowish-white metal gleaming in the crack between the lid and the cylinder, and he recognizes that it has an entirely unfamiliar hue.
He possesses what we might call the curse of knowledge. He is educated enough to recognize the profound strangeness of the object.
Yeah.
He knows with absolute certainty that this thing has been fired across the solar system from the planet Mars. And yet, and this is the tragic part, his imagination still completely fails him.
It totally does. He assumes the unscrewing mechanism is automatic. He completely doubts there are any living creatures inside.
Which is crazy in hindsight.
Right. Instead, he starts fantasizing that the cylinder is full of manuscripts, or that they'll find models to help them translate the Martian language, or even space coins.
Space coins. It is a brilliant critique of anthropocentrism. I mean, the narrator is an educated man of the British Empire.
Sure.
His entire worldview is built on human history, archaeology, diplomacy. So when he's faced with an alien artifact, he expects the Martians to act exactly like 19th century British explorers leaving a little time capsule.
I have to push back on your critique of him, though, just a little bit.
Oh, okay. Go for it.
I mean, I get that his imagination ultimately fails, but isn't his thought process completely rational?
How so?
Well, if you are a scientist in the 19th century, and your entire understanding of discovering new civilizations is based on studying ancient ruins and archaeology here on Earth, applying that same logic to Mars is just basic deduction.
That's fair.
Right.
Yeah.
Like looking for coins or manuscripts isn't necessarily arrogant. It's literally the only empirical framework he has to work with.
That is actually a very fair defense of his logic. He is indeed applying the scientific method. But the tragedy that Wells is highlighting is what happens when you apply the right method to the entirely wrong paradigm.
Oh, I see.
It shows how even the most rigorous intellectual frameworks are still bounded by human experience. He just cannot fathom an intelligence that operates outside of human logic.
So he's looking for a museum exhibit.
Exactly. He's looking for artifacts of civilization, completely blind to the fact that he's actually looking at a weapon.
And that blind spot creates such incredible tension. While his mind is wandering to, manuscripts and space coins, he is standing right next to the cylinder.
Right there in the pit.
And he hears something. A faint movement under his feet. The top, which had been unscrewing, has stopped rotating.
That subtle detail introduces this creeping dread into the narrative. It confirms it is not an empty capsule. Something is inside and it is moving.
But his reaction is baffling. He feels a little bit of impatience for it to open, but by 11 o'clock, since nothing exciting is happening, he just walks back home to Maybury to do some work.
It's unbelievable.
He literally goes back to his desk.
Which brings us to another fascinating cognitive mechanism, normalcy bias.
Normalcy bias.
Yes. This is the brain's stubborn assumption that things will function in the future exactly as they have in the past.
Okay.
It causes people to vastly underestimate both the possibility of a disaster and its potential effects. Even when the narrator hears movement from an alien vessel, his normalcy bias prevents him from interpreting it as an active, imminent threat.
It's just a strange machine to him.
Exactly. It takes monumental, completely undeniable evidence to shatter normalcy
So if
bias.
the guy standing right next to the moving alien cylinder is just going home to do some paperwork, how does this escalate?
Good question.
Like, how do we get from a quiet, boring morning to the sheer chaos we associate with this story?
The catalyst for the shift isn't actually the aliens at all, it's the media.
Ah,
Yeah, Ogilvy, one of the original discoverers, had sent a wire to the astronomical exchange
and the media machine wakes up?
instantly.
By the afternoon, the early editions of the evening papers hit London. And the headlines are exactly what you would expect.
Big and loud.
Massive, sensational all-caps declarations. A message received from Mars.
Mhm.
Remarkable story from Woking. Suddenly, every observatory in the Three Kingdoms is roused.
The slow, localized discovery is transformed instantly into a mass spectacle.
Yeah.
The concept of Mars is injected into the public consciousness, but importantly, not as an existential threat. The media packages it as a thrilling novelty.
And that completely alters the physical scene at the Common. It's no longer just the butcher and the gardener. It becomes a total circus.
A literal tourist attraction.
Carriages start arriving, a basket chase,
Yeah.
a rather lordly carriage, heaps of bicycles. People are literally walking miles from Woking and Chertsey.
And we have to picture the environment they're walking into because Wells makes it very specific.
Right. It is glaringly hot. There is not a cloud in the sky, no breath of wind,
Just stifling.
and the ground toward Ottershaw is blackened as far as the eye can see,
Yeah.
still giving off these vertical streamers of smoke.
It is a hostile, apocalyptic environment. Wells paints a picture of a scorched earth that really should trigger every single alarm bell in the human nervous system.
It's a disaster zone.
Yeah.
The ground is literally smoking.
Uh.
And yet, amidst all this blistering heat and scorched earth, we get this incredibly telling detail.
The sweet stuff dealer.
Yes. An enterprising sweet stuff dealer from the Chobham Road sends his son up to the crater with a wheelbarrow to sell green apples and ginger beer to the crowd.
It is such a profound commentary on how human beings process the infinite or the terrifying. We retreat into commerce.
Think about the last time you saw footage of a bizarre disaster on your social media feed.
Oh, all the time.
A hurricane floods a street, or a massive fire breaks out, and within an hour, people are there taking selfies, live streaming it to their followers, and basically treating it like a festival.
Exactly.
We turn everything into content, we turn it into a spectacle. The arrival of an alien civilization is instantly reduced to a Sunday outing and a business opportunity.
And returning to psychology for a second, this commercialization is actually a coping mechanism.
Really? How so?
Well, buying a ginger beer while looking at a smoking alien crater is a way of asserting normalcy.
Oh, I see.
When faced with something that shatters your entire understanding of the universe, engaging in a simple, familiar transaction like handing over a coin for a drink, it reestablishes a sense of control. It anchors you to the human world. Oh, absolutely.
Because clearly this crowd of disaster tourists is getting out of hand. The spectacle is turning into a hazard.
As the crowd swells, the societal structures that normally govern human behavior try to assert dominance over the alien artifact, but they are completely ill-equipped for a paradigm shift of this magnitude.
When the narrator returns to the pit, a group of men has taken over. You have Henderson, Ogilvy, and a tall, fair-haired man named Stent, who is the astronomer royal.
Oh, very important figure.
Very important. And they've got workmen with them wielding spades and pickaxes, trying to excavate the cylinder.
Look closely at the physical description of Stent, the astronomer royal. He is the highest scientific authority present. He should be the voice of reason.
Right, he should be calm.
But he isn't cool, calm, and collected at all. He is crimson-faced. He is streaming with perspiration. He is irritated, giving directions in a clear, high-pitched voice.
He's having a total meltdown.
He really is. He is the embodiment of human authority struggling and failing to maintain control. We've all seen this, haven't we? Think of a modern leader or a CEO during an unprecedented global crisis. When their standard playbook stops working, the immediate reaction is very often frustration and a doubling down on completely ineffective strategies.
Because they literally can't do anything else. The cylinder is cooled down, but the workmen can't unscrew it.
Not at all.
The casing is enormously thick, and it offers absolutely no grip for their tools. They are just picking at an interstellar spacecraft with spades like cavemen.
It's pathetic, really. Meanwhile, the auditory tension is escalating.
Yes, the sound.
That faint stirring the narrator heard earlier has evolved. Ogilvy tells the narrator that they can occasionally hear sounds from within, And because the casing is so impossibly thick, they suspect those faint sounds actually represent a noisy tumult in the interior.
A noisy tumult. Just sit with that phrase for a second. You have an impenetrable metal tube from space. It survived an impact that vaporized the landscape.
Yeah.
And inside, muffled by thick alien metal, is a noisy tumult. There is chaos in there. The beings inside are active. They're doing something.
It is a terrifying realization of powerlessness. The humans are on the outside, hot, sweaty, frustrated, and blind. Whatever is on the inside is entirely beyond human influence.
So faced with this noisy, impenetrable alien threat, what is the grand strategy of the brightest minds in England?
This is the best part.
Do they call the army? Do they evacuate the town? No. Ogilvy calls the narrator over and asks him to go find Lord Hilton,
The Lord of the Manor.
the local aristocrat,
Why?
because the boys in the crowd are getting in the way of their digging, and they want permission from the Lord to put up a light railing.
A light railing.
They hear a noisy tumult from alien war machine they can't even scratch, and their big defensive play is to find a local property owner so they can build a light fence.
The irony is just incredibly rich. Humanity is standing on the absolute precipice of an existential threat. And how do we respond?
Bureaucracy.
Exactly. We cling desperately to rigid class structures and bureaucratic crowd control. We literally need permission to put up a fence. It is. But when our rules no longer apply to reality, we use bureaucracy as a shield against existential dread. If we are following the rules, we feel safe.
And the narrator goes along with it completely. He says he was, quote, very glad to do as he asked because it made him one of the privileged spectators.
Oh, yeah.
Even at the end of the world, he just wants VIP access.
He values his social status above his survival instincts. His normalcy bias is still firmly intact. He views the cylinder as an exclusive social event, not a mortal danger.
So he goes to look for Lord Hilton. He doesn't find him at his house. The servants tell him the Lord is expected back on the 6 o'clock train from Waterloo.
Right.
It's about 5:15.
Yeah.
The aliens are practically knocking on the door. And what does the narrator do?
He goes home.
He casually goes home, has some tea, and then walks up to the station to waylay the Lord.
He goes home for tea. It is the ultimate symbol of domestic comfort, masking profound vulnerability.
I couldn't believe it when I read it. Well, the world might be ending, but I've got 45 minutes before the train arrives. Better put the kettle on.
The tea, the train schedules, the Lord of the Manor, these are all the comforting illusions of an ordered world. Wells is showing us exactly how thick the bubble of human arrogance really is, right before he violently bursts it.
Which really brings us to the core of what makes this chapter so masterful.
It really is brilliant.
It is a slow burn tension built entirely on the tragedy of our own psychological limitations. Wells didn't need to show us giant tripods destroying cities right away to make us feel uneasy.
No, not at all. The terror doesn't come from immediate violence. The terror comes from realizing how woefully unprepared the human mind is for the unknown.
We just can't process it.
We can't. We project our own logic onto the universe, assuming everything will play by our rules, whether that means acting like a polite archaeological artifact, respecting a light railing, or, waiting for us to finish our afternoon tea.
It's a fundamental failure of imagination. From the boys throwing stones, to the narrator expecting space coins, to the astronomer royal yelling at guys with pickaxes.
And that failure is hardwired into us. The instinct to spectate, to commercialize, to rely on familiar bureaucracy, those are all mechanisms we still use today to avoid facing the incomprehensible.
Which leaves us with a pretty provocative thought for you to take with you today.
Yeah, think about this.
Think about that scene on Horsell Common. The smoking crater, the bewildered scientists, the guy selling ginger beer, the kids throwing rocks. If a mysterious object crashed into your local park tomorrow, which one would you be?
Would you be the one running away?
Or the one trying to mathematically decipher it? Or would you be the one pulling out a phone to live stream it to your followers? Maybe selling a few green apples to the bystanders while you wait to see what happens.
It's a tough question.
It is. Because when the impossible finally lands in our backyard, maybe we don't scream. Maybe we just stare at it, shrug, and go home to eat breakfast.